talk to Gage.
Everyone, please excuse my hair. I just got inside from being outside painting what's going to be me and my wife's future home. Yeah, fast food. I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been thinking about this, and I want to talk about something that's just been on my mind. This is totally unscripted. This is totally just out of the blue. Decide, you know what, I'm just going to sit down and just kind of share my thoughts. I might be I'm dumb, okay? I'm a dumb person when it comes to some of the the topics on like economics and stuff. I'm not the smartest guy out there, but this is just coming from someone who has been alive for 22 years so far and just has some thoughts. And I've been thinking about a story. Let me start out with a story. That's probably a good place to start. So I worked at a Chick-fil-A over the past couple of years. I was there for almost 2 years. Early on when I was there was someone who came in all the time. And one day he started just feeling really bad, like kind of dizzy. And it was like, what is going on? We gotta get this guy to the hospital. And it's just a guest. It was someone who came in regularly all the time. And I had just gotten off when he started feeling bad. And so it ended up being me that took him to the ER. And so we loaded him up in the passenger seat of my car, took him over there, and we were just kind of talking to each other on the way over there. And I was kind of scared. I was like, what if this guy like dies in my car? Thankfully we made it to the ER, dropped him off. I was like, hey, I expect to see you back really soon. And I never saw him again. I don't know for sure, like 100% what happened, but it's been like over a year. And I've never seen him. I never saw him again. So I'm left to assume that he is no longer with us. Heavy thing, I know. It just got me thinking about how our economy and society is really messed up. It really is. And actually, I just watched this video last night about how America looks terrible, like just visually, like your regular city. I mean, I know there's exceptions. There's some pretty places out in America and here in America, but most of these cities and little towns, they look terrible. A bunch of billboards and signs everywhere. Usually it's like food places, like fast food places, and all types of just junk, it's just cluttering. It looks so artificial. It doesn't look real, and sometimes I think about that. Like, it's so important to remember that we're meant to live in nature, and to some extent we're meant to like touch grass. And that's crazy coming from a gamer, I know, but it really got me thinking, like, man, I dream of a world where jobs that are beneficial to people are the ones that are sort of elevated, that rise to the top. So let's do a thought experiment real quick. Right now, you watching this, think, and look, you might be as uninformed as me, and that's okay. Just think of what's a company that makes a lot of money. That's like one of the richest companies, or like, that's just, I think of like a company that makes a lot of money. Like, that's what I think of. Think about that for a second. For me, lately, it's been thinking about how big fast food places are. And it sort of got me snowballing on this thought train that I told you all about, where it's weird. It's like, why? It's capitalism. That's what it is. And this is a dark side of capitalism existing. And that's our structure, is that even companies that are objectively bad for us, they're objectively not good. They can tend to be the ones that rise up to the top, making buku money and expanding in so many different ways, just because we're dumb. Just because we're dumb enough to take another bite, so to speak. And it doesn't have to be strictly food. This is just my example, but we're dumb enough to take another bite. We're dumb enough to keep going back. And that's the thing. When I was working at Chick-fil-A, there are people coming every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. That's insane. And yes, some of y'all might be saying that, it's up to them. Look, if people want to eat fast food all the time, that's their prerogative. And you're right. That is technically true. I'm just kind of looking at like the underlying issue here, where so many companies that are just do things that sell products or services that are just not good for us, and they make so much money out of that. And I kind of think it's a little messed up in a way. Now, I'm also on the side that says that we should have our freedoms, I do still think it's important for us to have the freedom to eat whatever we want and, you know, consume whatever we want, all that type of stuff. But I don't know, guys. I just feel like there's a fine line. There's something just wrong. To me, just I may not even be able to put it into words the best as some other people might be able to, but to me, it's kind of messed up in a way, especially when you also consider the added layer when it comes to food, just the horrible treatment that animals get. And yeah, like, I mean, I can't sit here and say that I'm any better than any of you. Like, I've eaten at these places all my life, you know, but it is really messed up. And I've watched a few movies that have really brought this to my attention recently, and it's really sad. It is really messed up. I haven't checked out the documentary Dominion yet, but that's a big one. You know, if you kind of wanted to get like a pretty brutal look at everything I'm talking about, just look at that documentary. So yeah, I don't know, I just kind of dream of a world where the services and products that actually really help or add to society are the ones that are elevated to the top. Like, I don't know, like, imagine if everyone had the same, like, I don't know, like, handful of jobs. And I say handful, it would still be a lot of jobs, but the same type of things that just like help support all of us in a way. And food can be a part of that, you know, it's fine. I'm not against restaurants, you know, it's just, I think there's a balance that needs to happen, because now it's like so much of, you know, and that's sort of the doomer mindset that a lot of people fall into, where they're like, everything around me is just trying to kill me. Everything around me is just trying to totally frick my life over. And I kind of get that in a way. I do sort of see that, where it's like so many companies are just not good for us, you know? Anti-consumer, if you will. And so I don't necessarily know exactly what the answer is to all of these dilemmas I've had, but I don't know, at the very least, I think it's important for us to be aware and know what's good for us and what's bad for us, and just question why we do what we do. At the very least, question why we're doing what we do. So yeah, I don't know, this just was on my mind while I was painting today, and I just came inside, showered, and was like, you know, I'm gonna sit down and just tell people what was on my mind today, really. And so yeah, I just wanted to share that with all of you. Let's have a conversation. If this is something any of you have thought about before, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe we'll continue the conversation there. But yeah, with all that being said, please subscribe to the channel. That'd be really cool. And like the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you all in the next video. God bless.